Hi, did you miss me? I'm back. Anyway, um, I've been on sabbatical. I've been trying to decide if I should, have another channel or just continue this one. Because, I'm getting ready to go into van life. You know that. Not, well, part time. Part time to begin with. Who knows, what it would be in the future. But, you know, anyway, since I'm getting out of the house, I figured I'll stop in and say hi. I can't even believe that I'm not driving my van, but it's so messy inside. Oh my God. So anyway, um, I got this appointment at 9:30. Well, anytime after 9:30 today, and we're on our way. The last 2 days, they've been very nice outside. Even today, it feels like it's nice because the weather is warm, but we have clouds, right? And I looked at the temperature, and it says that the temperature was going to get up to be about 88. Yeah, 88 degrees. I'm like, that's hot. Like, that's hot. So, ain't no way I'm going to be out here in this sweatshirt, when it gets that hot. But right now, it's 9:15 in the morning. And, yeah. I was happy. Happy my car started up. Right? Happy I still have my dash cam in my car. So, yeah. But I can tell, well, it says it's 75 degrees already. But, sometimes it's just easier throwing on a sweatshirt and just getting out. Just throw it on and get out, right? You don't have to worry about, presenting yourself in a certain way. You don't have to look polished, girl, in a sweatshirt. But you can look good. Yeah. So, anyway, we still having the same old debates. What percentage is black? What percentage is white? And what percentage is Native American? We having those same old debates. Yes, there were some people that was abducted, by these men out here for procreation and enslavement, while others was sold. Yes. That's the main thing. That's the main reason why a lot of the men in Africa, they didn't get married, right? It wasn't like they was married, monogamous to one woman. They had several wives, and they had several kids. A lot of them, they couldn't even afford it, right? That's why as you go up north in Africa, they scrutinized that and said, this Muslim nations, beginning, like with Algeria, Morocco, Egyptian, and them, right? They were like, you know, you can only have as many wives as you can afford, right? Because they couldn't afford all of those wives and kids that they was leaving behind, you know, because they just, you know, they was, you know, on a free-for-all, just grabbing women left and right and having babies, and babies was left starving and hungry. Okay? So the sad part about it is that they really didn't care about their wives. And as a matter of fact, you know, their wives and kids, if they could find a way to destroy them, they would. Right? That's what that whole Esdras book was about. In the book of Esdras was about how the men would, you know, kill their estranged wives and children, you know, because they just couldn't afford them. They just, you know, it was like they done had way too many wives and kids to support, right? And when they stopped wanting to kill them, that's when they started selling them, right? They still sell them to this day in Africa. You know, they'll get to a point where they're like, look, you know, we can't afford to keep, you know, feeding all of these mouths, you know. And, yeah, they start looking for, you know, men that will take the children off their hands. And the sad part about it is, you know, they're not thinking ahead like that. You know, they're thinking lustfully, and they're thinking that they should be, you know, they shouldn't have to deny themselves anything that they want. Right? But here's the thing, and I know you're like, well, why would they just kill off of their, you know, kill their estranged wives and their kids off? Because that's where you start having these family feuds, right? The kids, you know, was killing other kids. The kids was abducting other brothers and sisters and, you know, snatching them off and, you know, selling them into slavery. That's, you heard about that story in the book, right? Where the brothers and sisters, the brothers snatched their younger brother and sold him into slavery, especially since they thought, you know, the father was favoring him. Yeah. So there is a lot that you can learn from the Bible, especially about, you know, debauchery. Yeah. But, you know, the whole purpose is so that, you know, you're not stuck in a cycle, you know, just replaying in a loop, you know, replaying history in this loop over and over and over, right? And so another loop was like when it came to the Matrix, right? Now the Matrix, right, the whole thing about the Matrix was whether Keanu was going to want to be a Marvel hero, or was he going to, you know, love his woman. I mean, you can see this throughout a lot of the stories out here that, you know, it's to educate people, you know, about life, about how the choices that we make, you know, and hopefully people can see or absorb, you know, the things that they read in such a way that they can apply it to practical life. Right? See, a lot of people, they don't, you know, they just theorize. and then they forget. Yeah, they theorize and then they forget. But because they don't see situations of they don't see situations of the past relevant to current circumstances. But human behavior is human behavior. So I'm here getting ready to pick up. Hold on. Okay. So ended up doing a little small talk, trying to figure out how come I couldn't get any dairy products. How come? And they're like, well, if they have it, they'll give it. I said, yeah, I used to go inside, but of course they had dairy inside. You could get cottage cheese and milk and sometimes even some eggs and yeah. So I don't know. It's more convenient, just to pull up, right? I'm supposed to get like a bag of legs. That was on the list, so I hope that's in the in the back. And yeah, so today was a food pantry run. And I'll get to see what I got that I don't have to buy from the store. So anyway, let me show you. This here is the granola bar that I made. See it? Oh my God. Now, I started out, following the recipe. Right? The second time it was like, we gonna make it how we want it to be, right? Well, we gonna doctor it up, basically. We were gonna doctor it up. So I doctored it up the second time. The third time, this time, oh my God. This time I took, the whole trail mix bag that you can get at the store, trail mix. I took that bag and put it in the food processor along with some oats and some peanut butter protein and some peanut butter and some sugar-free maple, and it's so good. And to make it better, I also put some sugar-free peanut butter chips, melted on the top and the bottom. Yep. And topped it off with some semi-sweet chocolate chips melted on the top. Yeah, I was doing too much. Right. So I cut the pieces a little smaller. Hopefully I'll recognize that I don't really need to eat as much since I know they're rich in calories. Yeah. delicious too. So I still have some wings that I need to cook. That's what I ate yesterday. I had bought some family pack wings at Winco, and yeah, and that will take me at least a day or two to eat. Well, 2 days to eat. If I'm being serious about it. Wow. So yeah, today is going to be a muggy one for sure, since it's going to be 88, a high of 88, and it's already 75, and there's all these clouds in the sky, and I'm feeling hot already. Oh my God, 389? Wow. $3.89 a gallon for gas. Let me see what it costs on my way home, because I know for some people, oh my God, people on the West Coast, they're charging them like $6 and above a gallon. People are not driving like that. No, it stopped me from driving. I'm like, wait a minute, gas is up. When it was $2 a gallon, I was thinking, yeah, I think I can, make some extra money, doing gig work. But as it started creeping higher and higher and higher, I was like, oh hell no. Once it got to be $3, and when you see some of these places, it'll be $3.49, right? But then they mix it with ethanol, right? And it just seemed like that ethanol blend, it just seemed like that just evaporates. Like all it needs to do is just hit the air and it evaporates. So yeah, I was like, So and then all that starting and stopping was messing with the starter on this car, and I was just like, So now, like I said, I believe I could start doing the van life thing. So yeah, it's $3.89. You might as well just say $3.90. You might as well just say $4. Shit. That's what you might as well say. $4 a gallon. So I've been holding on to my little half a tank for like 2 weeks now, not going nowhere. Unless I absolutely can benefit from going somewhere, like going to get some free food. So yeah, got to keep my resourcefulness about myself. You know, of course, I keep trying to figure out, why didn't they just do things the right way? They knew what they were supposed to do. They knew what they were supposed to do. But they didn't do it. So now, instead of them sharing the wealth, it's like, oh, okay, now you'll be in poverty with us. Like, what? Dang. Why are you so dumb? Right? Oh, there's my doctor's moved right over there. Well, my previous primary care doctor. She's not my doctor, but she used to be. So this is nice. They finally straightened out this little construction area. Starting to look pretty good. Makes me want to go for a ride since I ain't been out the house. I ain't been out the house. They done opened up the freeway up here. You can get on the freeway up here now. Let's see what it looked like. So one thing is for sure, the battery is good in this car. Battery is good because I hadn't started this car in over 2 weeks and it just cranked right on up. So that's a good battery. That's a sign of a good battery. Now, I was watching the Static Nomad, and he was telling us how we can take that yellow stain off of our headlight lenses by, just using a sandpaper and water. Just sandpaper and water. And then, put a spray on there to make it look all shiny and nice. And I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do, right? Because I had looked at some headlights, but the headlights, they were costing about 60, 70, 80 bucks. just, manifest the money and do this and that, but it's not that easy. It is not that easy. It's not. What is this? GeminiMade.com. I wonder what that is. Down here, they're almost finished. They're finishing up the construction down here. A little bit. They still got a ways to go. So the gas over here is $3.79. Okay. Huh. In my little hood. Yeah, I even applied at Goodwill. And I didn't even get a reply back from Goodwill. So, yeah, employment situations is not very good. So yeah, I was trying to save money on my my insurance renewal. So I had to get an automatic payment option for a discount. Like, wow. I hate that. I hate that for me. But I mean, I love the discount, but I hate that I have to, let them have access to take shit out my account. I don't like that. It's $3.85 there. Wow. Tell you, there was a lot of moments there that I was really wishing I had not made this deal to buy this van and give up, that electrical car that was paid for. But I'm like, I couldn't go no further than 60, 70 miles on a charge. It just wasn't gonna make sense. It just wasn't gonna make sense. Right? Because I was needing to make some money and nobody was hiring me. And I did think that I was gonna be able to use this van, to give rides and make money, even if I wasn't doing like deliveries, I could pick up passengers. They come to find out, the air conditioning ain't cooling, starters messing up, the headlight don't work at night. Like, what the hell? Yeah. So, yeah, make me feel like, they took advantage of me. That's how I felt. Like, yeah, took smooth advantage of me. Yeah, my friendly neighbor, they keep putting my trash can up every time I take it out. Like, what the heck? Thank you. Anyway, back home now. So I's home. And I'm gonna go ahead and upload this video. And it's so good to see y'all. But y'all have a nice day, okay?